She is 10 years old, but she embodies a true and powerful voice for change when it comes to young women empowerment. She has created Queendom Metaverse.
And I moved to the US when I was 9, and the next day I go to school. I get bullied, dirty looks, not a feeling of belonging. And then when I was almost half through 4th grade, there was this big buzzword, the metaverse. So I decided to work on it because I know the power of the internet.
When I look back to my childhood, when I was your age, we didn't have that bullying word, let's say. So we would be bullied, but we wouldn't have the awareness.
Just imagining a young girl who has been left behind because of war, climate change, and doesn't want to show her face, doesn't want to be seen as a refugee.
Yeah, you're here with me, you're showing your face, you're in a podcast, you're at Cannes Lions, or you're speaking for lots and lots of people on the stage.
I don't go by my age, I go by my attitude.
I love that. Hi everyone, welcome to Influencer Marketing Uncover podcast. I'm Mara Genovese, I'm the founder and president of MG Empower Global Integrated Market Agency. Joining us today, she's a very special guest who I met 2 weeks ago, I think, in Cannes Lions, and how not to fall in love with her. It's a true pleasure and honor to welcome with me today Aayati Dash.
It's Dash.
Dash.
Yeah.
She is 10 years old, but she embodies a true and powerful voice for change when it comes to young women empowerment. She has created Queendom Metaverse, the first ever virtual space designed to empower and help young girls to break gender stereotypes, making career choices, express creativity, and building confidence in themselves. Welcome, my dear Aayati, to our Influencer Marketing Cover podcast. And you're in London. Can you believe that?
No, I actually can't.
Welcome. It's just like such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
And again, it was so incredible to meet you and your mom that is also here with us in the studio today, 2 weeks ago. So we met. I don't like to say by accident because I don't believe in accident. I believe in the universe and the power of God and the universe to bring people together. And we met, and I think your story and what you have achieved to date, it's so inspiring that at the moment that you said that you're going to be in London, the first thing we thought was like, we need to have you on our podcast because more people need to know about you, need to know about the work they have been doing and how bright and how special and inspiration little girl. I don't think little girl because what did you say to me today and then we met? You're 10 years old, but
I don't go by my age, I go by my attitude.
I love that. Let's start. I think, as I said, we met, we talked, but there's so much still that I don't know about you. And I think our audience here today, they will be delightful for us to start this conversation with a simple question. Tell us about your story.
So, I lived in India for the first 9 years of my life, from when I was 2 months to 9 years. And I lived with my grandparents. And then I moved to the US when I was 9. And the next day I go to school. I get bullied, dirty looks, not a feeling of belonging, won't sit at me at the lunch table, would hurt me, and I was not just there for myself. And with that struggle of that whole year, my parents decided to take me to India. And I'm at the ticketing counter at the airport. I put my passport, and it has expired. So I was like so bummed, and then I go home and I was crying, and my mom said, at least you were not stuck there. And I spend the summer designing portraits, and I'm the assistant creative director for the book Lead Her, and it is about 60 women leading change in 60 different ways. It was already a film, but we turned that into a book, and they were thinking to put like headshots, pictures of it, but I decided to put them as superheroes. But there's where the stereotype comes in, as capes, weapons, and muscles, and those stereotypes. And it was time to break them, and we're more than that. So that is how I created Lead Her, and that is how I got started with everything.
And that summer, and then again, like we talk about like the, how things in life happens. And again,
Yes.
I don't know about you, but I don't believe in accident. I believe in plans that's beyond our understanding and imagination. So it was not meant to be for you to go back to India, period. Right? So I think it's a great sign. So you came back to US. And during that summer, did you go back to school? No, it was a summer holiday.
Holiday.
So, and then throughout this time, you start working around this book. And from the book, how you start how your voice is starting to get to be noticed through social media is what we start with the book. So what's your relationship with how from that book you go, okay, so there's something here, and there's something that I can do to use of my experience to actually say to young girls, or even to any women out there, that they cannot be defined by the way they look and what they do and the gender, etc. So how the book evolved for the social media and for you to be that powerful voice that you are now. And then it's in a short period of time, right? Because you're 10 years old and you said that everything started
in 4 months.
Is in 4 months. So tell us the journey from the moment of the book to the next 4 months.
So the next weekend when I came to US, I was facing this bullying, and I just started talking about books, and I felt like I didn't have a voice out there in the community, but there's this community that is invisible, that is in the internet. So I opened an Instagram account, and my mom was the recorder, and I would just speak my mind. I would speak what I like about this book or whatever, right? And I felt the power of the internet. And then when I was almost half through 4th grade, there was this big buzzword, the metaverse. So I decided to work on it because I know the power of the internet. So I decided to create a platform called Queendom, which talks about giving young girls access to coaching, capital, community, have access to commerce opportunities, showcase their creativity, and be who they are. So we decided to create the Queendom Metaverse, and we're working with an amazing team who's creating this, and that is how I got into showing my voice and talking to because we don't need to be discovered. We will discover ourselves, and young girls need to know that.
I love that. So I will repeat that. We don't need to be discovered. We will discover ourselves.
Yes.
It's such a powerful quote. And it's very true, because sometimes we, as a human, we think that we will be successful if people
will see us.
Yeah. But actually, we are the only ones that need to see ourselves. And then when we do that, we achieve the success.
Yes.
And I love that you're embracing that. So the Metaverse project, it was all your idea, your vision. So how did you already knew about Metaverse? Because Metaverse is still a very, although, it's very complex. And I know we've been talking about Metaverse for about 2 years now, since Meta changed the name Facebook to Meta. But it still is not every brand or every talent that is already into Metaverse, because it's very complex. So how did you get to know more about a Metaverse? So it's something that you already using it, or how was the process of discoverability for you to think, okay, so if I create that platform through Metaverse, I will be able to empower all the young girls?
So you know that people are playing Fortnite and
Yes.
Roblox and stuff like that. So the metaverse, because when I had free time, I would rather study or get on the computer and just play games because I had nobody to talk to. So I was scared of my face. Somebody will see my face. Somebody will do.
So you didn't show your face when you're playing games?
Yes.
So you just no video and just
played games.
play games.
And I realized that just imagining a young girl who has been left behind because of war, climate change, and doesn't want to show her face, doesn't want to be seen as a refugee, doesn't want to be seen as that she has nothing. She has something, but we don't give access to that. We don't show that they can do something, right? So that is why I created the Queendom Metaverse, and young girls can get involved because we created scholarship programs where they can do a virtual concert in New York Times Square, and we also created rooms where they can pitch their idea, where they can have artwork. We have done that, and young girls should know that they're not supposed to raise their hands to say, hey, there's a problem, let's fix it, and there's no more time to do that. The only option we have now is to raise our hands to say, hey, there's a problem, but I'm going to fix it. I'm going to bring the solution. And I think that is what is important.
Is to bring that solution
to the table.
And because you're saying, like, when you're playing video games, you're not showing your face, and probably, as you said, it was not something that was happening with you. So you thought, went to, okay, maybe there's other young girls that they're playing video game, but they're not showing their face,
and they're scared.
Because they're scared. And then the metaverse is in a word that if you don't want to show your face, but you still have the avatars.
Yes.
Right. So did you thought about avatar being a way of, okay, express themselves? And did you have the experience first yourself? Like, I will use an avatar to express myself.
Yes.
So you've been through that.
I've been through that.
And how did you feel about it when you use an avatar to represent you and to express yourself?
I felt me. I felt like I will not be judged. But I also thought that young girls should know that they should own it. They should own who they are. And that is why I felt like there's this need to empower young girls.
And the platform, do you already have a big community in the platform? So the platform
No, we're launching it.
You're launching it. Okay.
After this trip,
it's gonna be live.
Yeah, it's gonna be live. But our website is live. It's called queendom.co.
And then people can already register to be...
that information is gonna get on there soon. Yeah.
And okay, so and then, like, if you think about it, so you went through the bullying at school in US when you moved to India. And by the way, in India you didn't have that, right?
In India I didn't have that. But young girls, if you're not rich, there's different types of bullying. If you're not part of that kind of family, you're gonna get bullied. If you don't look like that, you'll get bullied. There's also bullying at home. There's also bullying at school. You never know what you might face.
Yeah, it's so true when we talk about bullying, and then because if you think nowadays, it's very open, that conversation about, you know, being bullied. And when I look back to my childhood, when I was your age, we didn't have that bullying word, let's say. So we would be bullied, but we wouldn't have the awareness that we have today. And now and then, when I think of my childhood and then doing a reflection, and now you're talking about your own experience, it took me back to experience when I was your age. I was raised in a very, let's say, well, not a poor family, but middle class, and all my parents could do for me was to make sure that I'll have a great education. And great education mean I was always be part of schools where there was rich people. So I studied, I'm from Brazil, and from the countryside. So very, again, very simple life. But school was something that my parents make sure that I'll have the best education, me and my sister. And we went to private school. And of course, being private school, you only have rich people. And I remember my mom and my father, my mom and my daddy, they split up when I was very young. And my mom didn't have a car to take me to the school. So I have to walk from my home to my school. And I remember there's a group of girls at my school. They're saying we cannot be friend of her because their parents, they don't have a car. She walks. And I was just like, why I cannot be of the group of friends? Because I really liked them. And they were like, and I remember saying, can I hang out with you? And they go, no, you don't have a car, you walk. And but it's so funny because I only think that I've been now, it's just like I come to that realization very late in a stage in my life. And for me to hear that today, like meeting with you and are 10 years old, already having that understanding of like, yes, I was at school, I was bullied, but I'm not going to let this define me, because through my experience, I let for a long time that bullying define who I was until I overcome that, but was very late in stage. So for me, it's so amazing to see that it's changed now. There are, amazing girls like you that is already saying, no, I really know what it is. And I don't accept. And I'm going to help other young girls to do different choices. So and again, I was telling about my own experience and how I overcome that very late in life. So tell me, how do you overcome that? Because now you're out there, you're here with me, you're showing your face, you're in a podcast, you're at Cannes Lions, or you're speaking for lots and lots of people on a stage in the biggest creative festival in the world. So how did you overcome saying, I'm going to show my face because this is who I am and I don't care?
Well, you need that courage, and young girls should know that they're born with courage and creativity, because sometimes they're like, oh, I don't have the courage and creativity. Because I was in darkness for 9 months. I was in darkness in my mother's womb for 9 months. I found creative ways how to entertain myself, how to just have fun. And, I know that because I know that this is what is happening right now. This would have happened back then too, right? So young girls should know that they have the courage and they have the creativity, because I believe that courage is your currency. Courage is your only currency. The pound value might go up and down. The rupee value might go up and down. The dollar value might go up and down, but the courage value will never. And it is very important to have that courage and creativity. And young girls should know that they're born with it. And sometimes people train them that, oh no. That's not true. Enough of that. So I think.
Wow, that's amazing. And then I think the word courage, be courageous, takes a lot of space for you to realize that, right? And then again, talking by my own experience, it took me a while in life for me to go out of, that cave and say, oh, wait a second, I have the courage inside me and I know I can do that. So I think you use the best quote, again, second quote on this podcast that we need to make sure we're going to have that in your book. Because everyone, if you look inside, you can find your own courage, and the creativity is with us. It's just for you again, we go back to not letting people to define what you can and can do based on the way you look or which family you came from, right? Yes. And your courage came from the fact that when you start being more creative during these 9 months, and that, do you think the creativity helped you to unlock that courage, or vice versa, or both together?
I mean, creativity is something, and courage is something that you need to think about. Because I was reading a book called Number the Stars, and it's a kid book, and it said something that really stuck to me, and I have to say it because I keep it with me a lot. Courage comes easily when you know nothing. Because sometimes courage, you don't need to know everything. And I didn't know everything when I was doing this. When I created the book Leader, I came home. I didn't even know I was the assistant creative director. Came home from school, a normal day with bullying. And I come home, I come to my bedroom, and there's this book, and I just flip it, and I just get so happy because I designed these, and I look in the corner of the page, and it says assistant creative director Aayati Dash car. And I'm like, that's fun. And courage comes easily when you know nothing. And that is what happened to me. And I know that you don't need titles, you don't need labels to do anything, to make change, so.
And what are the biggest change that you wanted to do?
The change that I want to do is serve the community. I know that how young girls feel. And I think what has changed my life at school is what my grandmother said. Don't seek for those who stand out. Seek for those who stand up. And I realized that I don't have to be that popular girl who everybody gets the attention. I don't have to be that. I can be me.
And are you back to school?
No, we have a 3-month summer break.
But because that summer holiday, we're talking about the last year's summer holiday. And
I just got done with 5th grade.
Amazing. Congrats. Yeah. But did you go back to that old school that you've been bullied, or you changed school?
I'm almost there.
Almost there. But you went back to school after all.
Yes.
And how did you feel about it, going back to school?
After my grandmother gave that advice, I felt like, these don't matter. Just back off. Just clean your surroundings, right?
And you did that.
Yes.
And how do you feel at school now? Much more confident?
I feel more empowered.
And then, of course, people at school, they realize that you are powerful and you're courageous, and there's no reason for them.
Sometimes I'm just me, and they're just scared of seeing me being me because they don't want me to be me.
But you just being you, because that's the courage that you have, and then you're showing the words. That's, again, tell what the quote about the courage again.
I Number the Stars. It's a book written by Loris Lowry, and it says that courage comes easily when you know nothing.
That's incredible. That's very powerful. And tell about, as I said, you were in Cannes Lion and you participate. How many panels did you participate? One, which was with Meta?
No, it was not with Meta. It was with the chairman of BBDO India.
Yes.
And then it was with Pinterest and a few other people.
But Cannes Lion was not the first experience that you had on stage, right? So tell me the journey of what was the first invitation that you had that they invited you to. Can you come and speak? Tell the feeling. What did you feel? How did that come? Where did it come from first? Because it's a big thing, right? You be on the stage, empowering young girls, telling her story. And I can tell you just the beginning. But I want to know, how was the first experience?
It was at World Economic Forum. It was a side event, and I was speaking. And it was during the reception, and all the speakers are standing, and it was this, feeling of happiness and, that feeling of gratefulness that I can be there and I can represent the voices that I see getting bullied every day, because I'm not the only one, right?
No.
I'm not the only one. So that is why I felt grateful. I felt empowered. I felt like I have a purpose, but I've not unlocked it yet, but I need to. And I felt very grateful for it.
And that was your first experience. And what was the topic of that talk? Because the World Forum of Economic is huge. It's for a first experience, come on, right? Yeah. And you were on the stage by yourself, or you shared the stage with other speakers?
No, I had a fireside chat.
Okay, but still huge.
It was what I do. It's about Queendom. It was about the book Lead Her. That's what it was about. And I was kind of very grateful.
And then from there, it opens the door.
Yes, of course.
So how many panels have you done to date? Do you know by head?
In total panels, 3 presentations, 2 or 3.
And do you enjoy to be at stage?
Well, I want brands to know that we are more than customers. We are more than consumers. We can contribute change. Our ideas, our opinions matter. So I think that's what I want brands to know. And we have created brand rooms in Queendom. Actually, we have created rooms where, for example, we have not launched it yet, but we're thinking about it. Like brands like maybe Verizon can come and teach STEM to young girls. Maybe a brand like Nike can come, and their ads are all about confidence building, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can teach young girls about that. And they can teach Mattel can teach young girls about 3D printing your products, how to contribute to the environment that is the environment around you. So,
and you touch on a very important point here, because of course we're talking about like how your voices is empowering young girls, but now you mentioned brands, right? Yes. So. And it's a very important, point to be discussed. It's especially here on this podcast where we have a lot of brands that listen to our, to our talks. Because it's not just about us making the change, but how can the brand support the change? How do you see that, how brands should be more aware or involved on supporting voices and talents like you? That is because at the end of the day with brands, like there is of course all, like if you talk about, as I said, about Nike or any other big brand, their interest, there is the sale element into it, right? But how can they use the power of their brand name to actually be involved and support and empowering projects like yours, right? Because that show that brand has a meaning and the purpose that is not just the revenue element, but also how the brands can be a voice.
I want them to know that it goes beyond one campaign. They have to be consistent in what they do. They have to be the voice that is there all the time. It goes just beyond one campaign for 1 year. It goes the commitment forever.
Love that commitment.
Yeah, young girls are feeling the commitment, and that is why they are buying those brands. That is why they're believing in those brands. That is why they're watching their ads. That commitment and consistency is what I want brands to do to support young girls.
And it is incredible that you're saying that, because especially your generation and the generation to come, they will more and more say to brands, I wanted to see your commitment. I wanted to see that you're doing genuinely. It's not just because it's a trend or it's because I have to be doing something meaningful in order to be acceptable, but it's just not one-off. So this new generation to come, they will mandate. They will say, if you want us to be engaged with your brand, show commitment to a cause. Right? Show commitment with consistency, exactly what you said, right? Because one-off, it just don't give you the reassurance that you actually really engage it into that cause to help to make the change.
Yes.
And your platform will give that opportunity to brands that you say.
Yes, of course it will.
So it's not just about the young girls, but also getting the brands to
know we know what we want, and we know that what we want is what we want. There's no change in that standard, So I think.
And what is the biggest change that I would love to see brands doing?
I would love brands telling that this is where our loopholes are. This is where we cannot do anything, and I want you to be involved. I want to know what you feel. Your voices matter, and I think I'm on LinkedIn, right? And the power of asking is very important on LinkedIn. And I feel like people ask me, "Oh, you're on LinkedIn? That's so cool." Like, it's not cool. I know the power of asking. I know that if I'm on LinkedIn, I'm there for a reason. And I want young girls to know that too.
And so do you use LinkedIn to ask questions?
I go all over the place asking people to help me.
You did that in Cannes, right? I think your mom
All
told
over
you
the
all over the place. How many, like, I remember when we met at the Cabana, you're telling stories like how you're meeting people in Cannes and just going to them and asking questions and introducing yourself. So you do that in real life and on LinkedIn. That's very smart. Future. I know there's a lot going on for you right now. It's a great momentum, and I can see and I feel that it's just the beginning. I think you're gonna be, no, you already are, but you will continue to that path that you're already going. But my instincts say that you're going to be one of those star that the God, whatever everyone is believing, that is here in the earth to make a big change. And I think that's my own personal feeling. You're gonna change a lot of lives, and your voice is gonna be a huge support to make huge change in this planet. And you're very gifted. Thank you. You should know that. And you know that? Do you feel like you're very gifted?
I feel like the generation I come from is very gifted itself.
Yes, it's true. And using your own experience to create all this platform that you already created is just it's just so inspirational. And how do you see yourself in the future?
Well, I don't know about the future, but I do know that we need to know our past, because my grandmother has been a big role. She has played a big role, and I don't know about the future. I do know about our history. We have created the number system. We have created the lunar cycle. We have created the lunar calendars. We have created the first priest was a woman. The first poet was a woman. And I think we need to know that. And I think I see the future when our boundaries are blurry, when our history is blurry, the future will be too. So we need to change our past to change our future.
You're like amazing. And you talk a lot about your grandmother, but of course I've met your mom and she's here today. What are the, like, if you have to define the support and the love and the empowerment that you've been given by your grandmother and your parents, how do that define who you are today?
Maybe an action, like a big hug. Maybe like a big hug. Like, that is what we're all about. My family is very cuddly, and a big hug is all we need. So
it's so true. Sometimes a big hug can do so much, right? Yeah. It's just that sometimes we undervalue the value of a hug. And sometimes all you need is a hug.
Yeah.
My love, I think they're saying that I need to finish this conversation. And I'm very sad because we can stay here forever. It's just like, again, I cannot, I think I said that so many times, but meeting you, meeting your mom, and now getting to know more about you, it's just like you were just, it's maybe but I'm trying to rephrase that more and more. Like, you are very special. You're very inspirational. And what you're doing is going to impact. And again, it's already impacting and we continue to impact it. So carry on with the amazing work, your story. And don't never, ever let anyone to bully you again. And I think you have learned that already. So your courage just inspired all of us. I feel like I consider myself very courageous, but now listening to your story is giving me more, courage to continue to be more courage, if that makes sense. But it's true. And thank you so much for coming all the way from Washington to London and to be here with us today. And this is your first podcast, right? And I feel very honored because it's our first podcast and with me. It was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
If you wanted to leave one message to our audience, what that message will be?
I would say that don't let somebody define you, and remember that you don't need to be discovered. You will discover yourself.
That's all. My love, again, thank you so much. What a wonderful conversation. And again, I really, really, really hope that everyone that's listening to us today, taking all that conversation, all that amazing, talk that came to Aayati, and use that to inspire you all. And I can guarantee to you, to whatever is here with us today, that's not going to be the first, and that's going to be not the last time you're seeing this young girl, because she will fly high. Thank you so much for everyone that has been here with us today. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
And I'm very grateful. And if you're not following us, please do so. Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and Amazon. And I really hope you have enjoyed this conversation. And make sure we're going to put all the handles to make sure you can find her LinkedIn account, Instagram account. It's LinkedIn and Instagram, right?
LinkedIn, Instagram. Yeah, that's it.
TikTok? Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, so we'll make sure to keep all the handles so you can follow this incredible young girl that is changing.
You're the ones who's supporting me.
Yeah. And I will continue. This is just the beginning. Thank you so much. And I see you all on the next episode of Influencer Marketing Uncovered podcast. Thank you so much.